All right, I know who I am. Right? So today what I want to do is actually talk about, is Cakewalk still good? I get this question a lot nowadays just because of the new sonar that came out, and it's a subscription base. And I just wanted to kind of let people know how I feel about the whole Cakewalk thing. Maybe what you may want to do or may not want to do. But let's get into the video, and I'm going to just kind of go through and let you guys figure out for yourself, is Cakewalk still good? Let's go. All right, so here we are in Cakewalk, right? And the theme that I'm using is my dark theme. If you are interested in getting this theme or my light theme, they're still available. You can go to xelohh.com, and I've just revamped my page. You can actually go down there and actually pick up this for absolutely free. If you want to actually give me a little bump, I have an option to do that as well now. Support the channel. This is probably one of the best ways to do it, and you still get the themes as well. But yeah, definitely check it out, xelohh.com. So a lot of other DAWs didn't have this. This is what I guess people will call a splash screen, kind of just to kind of get you set up. I think Cakewalk was one of the first ones kind of doing this when they were implementing the DAW itself. I thought this was really cool. A lot of DAWs still don't actually do this, so you can kind of get a way to set up your stuff. So if you want to actually launch your DAW and have the old project, you have your recent projects here. If you want to do an existing project, you have an option for an existing project, and you also have new projects here. So if you want to start a brand new project, and you can make your own templates and use your own graphics on them as well. As you can kind of see, I did a couple of them on here. And they also have some demo projects as well. But I'm just going to start on my starting. This is what I have created using Cakewalk. And this is how I like my setup to be, which is really dope. I know a lot of DAWs do have templates now where you can actually have a template set up, but I think Cakewalk made it really easy for me to set up a template. Like I didn't really have to think about it. I just kind of just did it and it was there. I think it's one of those DAWs that has the old school kind of feel to it, and it's still kind of modern in a way as well. Like you can still manipulate this DAW so much. It's ridiculous how much you can actually do with a free DAW. It's absolutely free right now. So you can go download it to your computer. The only issues that you would have with that is if you have a Mac, it doesn't work. If you have Linux, it doesn't work. It only works on Windows. Is that a negative? Some people say it is. Some people say it's not. It is a very, very good DAW. I'm just going to say that straight off the bat right now, right? So you have an option for you can make your own buses in here, and the buses stay on the right hand side of your console view and your tracks stay on the left hand side. I do wish that they had an option to kind of use the real estate a little bit differently for the tracks, like you kind of stretch certain things out. But I really like the fact that I can kind of make my own buses, make my own setup. The things about Cakewalk that people don't realize is that it looks complicated, but it is really, really simple. It's a simple DAW. I'm gonna be honest with you guys straight up in this video. It's a simple DAW to use, man. It's probably one of the easiest DAWs you'll ever use. When you get in here, it looks like it's overwhelming because there's so many buttons everywhere. But when you start to work inside of it, it doesn't become complicated at all, right? I mean, you have like your export section up here. These are like your tools. This is your tools section up here. This is like your snapping and your marks. Here is your transport, your rewind, your play, record, release, pause. Here is your timer. You could change your timer if you wanted to. And here is your tempo. I mean, this is like really simple things to kind of grasp. And these are like some of the bypass things that you can actually use in here. Like you can mute all the channels, solo, record all the channels, monitor all the channels. So these are like global kind of settings in this little section here. Then you have your looping and your loop markers that you can actually use. So here loops, you have your loop marker. It also shows your performance up here. You can change like your now time and your different timings for the tracks itself right here in this section. And here is like your punch in and out. You can make a certain section for it and have a recording section for like your punch in and punch out. This is your screen set. So you can actually have different screen sets. So let's say you have one where you just have the mixer right? Then you have one that's just a piano roll. So you can have all that set up for screen sets right here. This is for your control surfaces. Like you can have a whole bunch of different ones up here, and Cakewalk allows you to kind of remove them if you didn't want to have them on the side. So I think this is like the things that people kind of get confused about when you see Cakewalk. But I mean, you can kind of remove all this if you wanted to from this top section. I came from FL Studio, started using Cakewalk because it was a little bit more efficient on the plugins that I was actually using. And then at first I didn't even realize you can do it until I saw some videos from Bongonzo. Shout out to Bongonzo. I don't know how he's doing. Hope he's doing well. But yeah, and I saw that he was making beats inside of Cakewalk, and I was like, oh, you can do stuff inside Cakewalk. And I've had Cakewalk for a while. I had the audio interface that actually came with Cakewalk. So I had it, but I just never used it for actual like production. I always used it for recording. That was pretty much all I ever used it for, because it is probably the easiest DAW I've probably used to record in. And that's kind of saying a lot. I've used a lot of DAWs in my time, but it's probably one of the easiest ones to start recording in. I mean, you just create a track, you can do the little plus sign up here, and it has audio. It's going to tell you your drivers, how many tracks you want, and you just hit create. And guess what? I just made myself an audio track, and all I have to do is hit record. And if my mic is already set up, I can get that going. I have my ends right here, so I can change whatever ends I need it to be into. I mean, it made it really, really simple to kind of do that inside of Cakewalk. I'm not trying to sell you guys on Cakewalk. If you are a person that doesn't like Cakewalk, that's perfectly fine. If you love Cakewalk, that's perfectly fine as well. If you're thinking about going to get Sonar and you want to do the subscription, no problems with that either. If you do go and get the subscription, let me know below in the comment section and let me know what you think about it. What have they added in there that made you really happy? Or what do you think they should add that'll make the DAW even better? I really appreciate them for actually giving this out for free, and all the people who are actually out here making videos showing you guys how to actually use Cakewalk, whether that be Creative Source or Home Studio Simplified or Bongonzo or ADK Studio or just the Norm. That's just a couple of them off the top of the head that I know have been making some really good quality videos for Cakewalk. So you have your different views here. So you have like mixing view, you have like your arranger view, you have your tempo track view, which they just added those recently. Then you have like your properties where you can actually change any of the sounds for like the audio, the clips, whatever you actually have set up. Right? And here are your track properties. So you can do like stretch mode and things like that right here. And then of course you have the Pro channel, which to me is one of the reasons I really love Cakewalk. They have this set up on every single channel, makes it really easy to kind of get into your mix. So you don't have to worry about where things at, you know, how to actually get to it. Where's my mixer, all those things. I do wish they added a couple of things to it. I've requested it several times. I actually have another EQ inside of the console view. I think this would just make it even that much more better, especially if I'm using it for vocals. If I'm using it for vocals, I have my compressor already, I have my EQ set up. So I'm gonna have my subtractive EQ, I'm gonna have my compressor to boost up the signal and the sound. I'm also gonna have one to kind of level out the sound, and then I want to have another EQ. I'm not saying that you can't put another EQ in there. They do give you a lot of options, but it's just the fact that you would want to have another EQ of this same caliber inside here. And I thought that was one of the things that has been missing. No one has ever been able to get back and respond to it, to why they don't have it in there, but it's just one of those things where I feel that it should be in there, right? So if I right click in here and I go down to where it has effects chain, so this is super, super dope. So you can actually add whatever effects you want to in here as well. You know, if you want to put like any kind of effects, even like the TH3 stuff, you have that option to put it in here in this effects chain and use the effects that way. So, I mean, it doesn't limit you at all. And then you can even save this as a template inside of there. So anytime you know you're going to be saying you're going to use this for like a vocal chain, you can actually use this preset that you created every time you're doing this vocal chain. So this is one of the powerful things I think that Cakewalk does have, and they need more of this kind of thing, this kind of innovation to actually go forward. So If you're not using Cakewalk for this kind of stuff, then I don't know what you're using it for. The only qualm I've really had with it is that it doesn't have any kind of sampler inside of it. So I'm heavy sample based producer, because I actually came from FL Studio where like everything is a sampler inside that DAW. So like for my hi-hats and for my 808 and slides and things like that, I need to have a sampler so I can kind of do and manipulate the sound. Yes, there are samplers out there, and I've showed you many times on this channel. There's like the gray sampler, there's the TX16 sampler, there is the complete control sampler. There's like drum machines like X.E.L out there. What is it? Speed Drum is out there as well for like another kind of sampler out there. So there are things out there that are actually free that you can use inside of Cakewalk. I just felt that they needed one that was integrated inside of the DAW. I believe they have that now inside of the new Sonar that just came out, but I haven't tested it, so I don't know, and I can't say and speak on it. So with that being said, like that was probably my only real issue with Cakewalk in the beginning. There are a lot of little things that happen, little bugs and things that pop up for Cakewalk, but it is a very workable DAW. And if you haven't tried it yet, I say try it. If you have a Windows PC, there should be no reason that you don't have Cakewalk installed on your computer. It comes with instruments and VSTs that you can use in other DAWs as well. So you don't have to just limit it to just being on Cakewalk. So you can, if you're using a Reaper or Studio One or Ableton or FL Studio, you can actually pull up those VSTs inside those other DAWs as well. And that's what makes it really great. So this is basically just a kind of like a rant, because like I said, I get this question a lot and people keep asking about Cakewalk. I'm going to tell you right now, if you have Cakewalk, keep using it. You don't necessarily have to go up to Sonar. I know it's kind of scary because you don't know when the support and all those things are going to stop, when Windows will do an update where you won't be able to actually use the older Cakewalk anymore, but just stick with it. I don't see the issue with trying to, jump ship or go to other DAWs, unless that's something that you really want to do. If you have tried other DAWs and they don't really, fit well with you, which is a lot of the things that I do see. I see a lot of these in the comment sections where people will say, I went to this DAW and I went to this DAW and I went to this DAW, but I keep coming back to Cakewalk. And like I said, the reason that is because it's the simplicity of it is ridiculous. It's a very simple DAW, really easy to navigate, really easy to record, easy to set up your MIDI and instruments inside here. Like, just think about that. So you go up here, you hit this little plus sign, and instead of doing audio, there's a button right next to it that says instrument. This is simplicity at its finest, ladies and gents. Like, there's not many DAWs that make it this simple. And then you get to do the drop downs, and you can see that you can find all of your instruments. So sometimes it may be in this uncategorized section. If you have never moved them, you can make your own list as well. So I've made this list here of the things I kind of use like all the time, and it's my go-to VST. So like I made it really simple for myself to kind of just pull up stuff if I want to. And you can make more than one track. You can make it record enabled automatically, right? And then if you hit on this little arrow here that says advanced, it gives you more options. And there's simple options. Hey, do you want to create a folder? How many instruments per, does your instrument do track outs? Like if you're using Contact, or if you're using like Sample Tank, or like the UVI stuff, you have options to kind of do multiple channels just in one click. So you do the one, and then you can split the instrument tracks if you want to. And it's probably one of the only DAWs that I know that kind of does that, has this instrument track where it's like the MIDI and the sound is actually one unit. And you can always separate them and split them and have one MIDI track and then have one instrument track. I think it's probably one of the only DAWs that kind of does it this way, which is pretty cool, right? And you can even choose where out. So if you wanted not to go to the master and you say you wanted it to go to like your compressor or reverb, you can have it send directly to another bus instead of going straight to the master. And you can always make more than one of them. So if I wanted to make 3 of these expands and I just hit create, guess what? Cakewalk is just going to create all those expands at one time, And that makes it so much easier to kind of create your tracks going forward. So I don't see why I see a lot of more people are actually hating on, Bandlab for actually doing the subscription thing, and kind of they feel like they've been left in the wind, like the whole Gibson situation. But I don't see it that way. I see it as them actually experimenting and trying different things. If you do want to go up to that whole Sonar thing, it will require you to actually do the subscription. I'm still not 100% sure what Cakewalk Next is. If anybody has any idea what Cakewalk Next is, please leave it below in the comment section, because I don't see the whole purpose of the Cakewalk Next unless you are a Mac user. That's the only thing I can think of, is that they want to have a version that does go to Mac, but I don't see why they didn't do Sonar with Mac. I think that was a misstep or a bad decision. That's just my personal opinion. Y'all guys can think however you want. I think that was a misstep not to make it for Mac now, especially after all this time. Making a Mac version of Cakewalk, I think, would have done them very well. Even with the whole subscription thing that they're doing now, I think people would have actually tried it out on the Mac just to kind of see how it is, and then they realize how simple it is to actually use Cakewalk to manipulate audio, to actually do MIDI inside the MIDI editor, and it does have a step sequencer, so like it does have a lot of the really important features that people need and use in everyday DAW life. So I say stick with Cakewalk by Bandlab if you have it. I don't think there's a need to jump ship yet. So it's right now, it's still absolutely free. It still comes with great plugins. It still does great mixing and mastering. It still holds with however much tracks your computer can handle. It's really not bad on the CPU usage at all. Better than a lot of other DAWs. I think it's better than Studio One and FL Studio from when I've used it. So that's, like I said, these are just my thoughts and my feelings on the whole subject right now. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know below in the comment section. What do you guys think? Do you think you should still use Cakewalk by Bandlab? Are you planning on moving to another DAW? Or have you already moved to another DAW from Cakewalk and you feel like that DAW is working a lot better for you? Let me know below in the comment section of this video. All right. But yeah, once again, it's your boy, X.E.L.O. Until next time, people. Peace.
AutoRewind.